we're going to read together at the top of page 23. Baruch hu et Adonai haborach, Baruch Adonai haborach le'olam va'ed, Baruch Adonai haborach le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah. Amen. So I was distracted because I wanted to invite any of you who want to come up and look in the Torah scroll, to come up and look in the Torah scroll. It will be very brief. Don't worry, people who are concerned about time. But if you'd like to come up and just stand here, this is for our friends, but also for our congregants as well. And you can come up and look at the Torah scroll, because it's the Hebrew, but it's the Hebrew without any vowels. All right, you guys you can come around the other side, and you can see. Oh, hi, hello. Okay, so I'm just going to read a little bit. Amen. Vayavo'u kol ish asher nisa'o libo, v'kol asher nadva rucho oto, havi'enu et trumat Adonai, lim lechet ohel moed, u'chol avodato, Ulbigdei HaKadosh. It's somewhat easier to do when you're alone practicing. Lots of friends around. So basically what I said, you guys, was so we're just to place you where we are. We're in Exodus. The Israelites have received all the rules, and now they're sort of like wrapping things up. They're finishing things up in the tabernacle. So So each person whose whose heart is lifted up, can come, and all whose spirits are willing will bring an offering to the Lord for the work of the Ohel Moed, the Ark of the Covenant, the tent of meeting, and all of its works, and for its sacred garments. And that is what I read. Do you guys have any questions? For 30 seconds, so the people who care about time won't be upset. No? Awesome. Good answer. You may sit. Thank you for joining me up here. I know. Oh, right to left. Right. And no, we don't normally put post-its in the Torah. What I wanted to read was like right in the middle of a paragraph. Okay, so let's finish up with the blessing after the reading of the Torah, which is also on page 23. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, friends, for coming up. So this is the time when I do my Devar Torah, my word of Torah, my sermon. And I just wanted to share with our congregation that Reverend Jeremiah from the USM, he does not follow the Parsha HaShavua, right? He doesn't follow the same, portions as we do every week. So I have to give a sermon on this week's Torah portion. Okay, so what I just read. So I asked Reverend Jeremiah, because we're buddies, I said, how do you decide what you're going to talk about? He's like, I don't know, it's really hard, it could be anything. And I'm like, structure Judaism. So he was jealous, and I was also jealous, but it was a beautiful melding of the minds. Okay, I have it here. All right, here we go. Okay, so what we're just reading, I just translated it to you. So right before this part, Moses shares God's commandment to observe the Shabbat, to observe the Sabbath, right? On 6 days, work may be done, but on the seventh day, you shall have a Sabbath of complete rest, holy to Adonai. So no work, no kindling of lights. That's this part of the Torah. So for us, for people living in a culture that prizes individual agency and rights, like we do today, we chafe against commands, including myself. And we rightfully value choice. The Judaism that we observe here at the Santa Monica Synagogue, Reform Judaism, is based on exercising individual and communal choices based on our knowledge of our tradition. That's how we decide which mitzvot, which commandments we choose to observe. So, do we accept the command to observe Shabbat?
Yes.
Well, I mean, we're here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're here, that's an answer. So, celebrating Shabbat can be viewed as a commandment, and it can be viewed as a metaphor for making real a future reality that has yet to come to pass. On Shabbat, we practice love, we practice peace, we practice hope, and we practice faith. We're not able to realize all of these values yet, but we're practicing. Shabbat is a 24-hour prayer for how the world will be when the human capacity for love is fully realized. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, the beloved former chief rabbi of Great Britain, may he rest in peace, teaches, Shabbat becomes a journey through 3 phases of life, through 3 phases of faith. God's creation of the universe, God's self-revelation to humanity, and God's redemptive acts, collectively summoning us to build a world at peace with itself because it is at peace with God. There is a mystical understanding of Shabbat as a bride, as you heard earlier with the Lecha Dodi, and the day of Shabbat itself as a marriage between heaven and earth. This service, this Siddur, this prayer book, are our prayers for what could be. I was listening to a TED Talk conversation from last month called An Israeli and a Palestinian Talk Peace, Dignity, and Safety. It is a conversation between a Palestinian peace activist and solution maker named Ali Abu Awad and Israeli founder of idealist.org, Ami Dar. Ali and Ami are dear friends, and they are calling for a cease conflict, not a ceasefire, but a cease conflict, and they stress the difference. Ami describes the long-standing war between Israelis and Palestinians as a wrestling match. While it is clear to him, whether we agree or not, it is clear to him that at this moment, Israel is on top. But there is a pervasive Israeli and Jewish belief that the Palestinians are holding a dagger in this wrestling match, and that if Israel lets Palestine up, Israel will invite a stabbing. Maybe some of us here believe that, and that's okay. It's an understandable fear. All the fears that surround this war are understandable. There is currently little reason for trust on both sides. Even so, Ali says, I envision a place where both Palestinian and Jewish identities will be in harmony in our lives. Both sides have tremendous deep roots to this land, from the ideological, political, national, and religious areas. So peace for me, Ali says, is where these two identities are practiced freely, in harmony, in cooperation with the whole world and the Middle East. AMI hopes to create a coalition of like-minded people who start with the fundamental belief that the 7 million Jews and the 7 million Palestinians who live in Israel and Palestine right now are both staying where they are. He says they need to start conversations about solution making from that shared commitment. The solution, he says, needs to include and encompass everyone who is there. No one is leaving. Peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all is their joint motto. Will achieving this goal be easy? Of course not. People are dying. Jewish Israelis are traumatized and terrified from the attacks on October 7th, and the continued plight of the hostages. Gazans are traumatized by the unremitting violence and destruction of their homes. Is a solution even possible? We have many different feelings and many different views on this conflict and this war. All of those views and all of those opinions and feelings are welcome in this space. I bring this to you to share one image of what the future could look like, because we pray the peace that we practice on Shabbat will extend into the week where we must engage in the actions of Tikkun Olam, healing a broken world. I just read in the Torah that Moses asks the Israelites for donations of gifts and for those who are skilled to help build the Mishkan, the holy tabernacle that houses the pact of the covenant. Moses says, "Take from among you gifts to Adonai. Everyone whose heart is so moved shall bring them. And let among you those who are skilled come and make all that Adonai has commanded." When we allow our hearts and spirits to be moved and are willing to contribute money, skill, and labor, when we come together combining all our skills, all our strengths, and all our resources, we collaborate to create something new, something beautiful, something previously unimaginable, something sustainable, something that invites God's peace to dwell among us. Shabbat Shalom. May the peace of the Sabbath infuse us all. I am now going to share a song that is very important to me and my family. And if you know it, feel free to follow along. When your heart has butterflies inside it, then your heart is full of love. When your heart feels just like overflowing, then your heart is full of love. Love is fragile as your tears. Love is stronger than your fears. When your heart can sing another's gladness, then your heart is full of love. When your heart can cry another's sadness, then your heart is full of love. Love is fragile as your tears. Love is stronger than your fears. When your heart beats for a special someone, then your heart Thank you, Mr. Fred Rogers.